This graph shows something that should be mathematically impossible. The United States housing market just posted its lowest transaction volume since 1995. Fewer homes are selling right now than at any point in 30 years, yet home prices are sitting near all-time highs. In a healthy market, low demand and high prices cancel each other out. That is how the laws of supply and demand are supposed to work. But right now, the market is frozen, and the pricing has become detached from those basic economic rules. The median price for an existing home in the US is now $418,000. In 2019, that figure was $272,000. That 46% jump is the national median, the dead center of the entire country. To understand the monthly reality of that price, look at a $400,000 purchase with 20% down. At the 2.65% interest rate available in early 2021, your monthly payment was $1,293. At today's 6.5% rate, that same house costs $2,023 a month. That is an invisible $730 monthly premium for the exact same property. This paralysis is the mathematical result of a specific sequence of 5 historical shocks. Once you see the order of these dominoes, the current market stops feeling like chaos and begins to look like an inevitable outcome. The first domino fell in 2020. Fearing a pandemic-driven economic collapse, the Federal Reserve slashed interest rates to zero and began injecting $120 billion into the system every single month. The reaction was immediate. By January 2021, the 30-year fixed mortgage hit 2.65%, the lowest rate recorded by Freddie Mac in 50 years. Average buyer purchasing power reached a historic peak. Then came the second domino, remote work. In a matter of months, the percentage of remote workers jumped from under 6% to over 18%, changing the physical requirements of the American home. As the need to live near a downtown office evaporated, hundreds of thousands of people left dense, expensive hubs. Manhattan, San Francisco, and Chicago saw a massive exodus of households looking for more space. Those buyers descended on mid-size markets like Austin, Phoenix, and Boise. These cities already had tight inventory, but they were suddenly flooded with buyers carrying pandemic savings and a desperate need for home offices. Because of this mass migration, national home prices surged 37% in just 2 years. In Austin, they climbed over 60%. This timing created an artificial pricing peak. For those who bought during the 2020 window, it was a massive financial win. For everyone else, that peak became the foundation of a trap. The third domino fell in mid-2022. Inflation hit 9.1%, the highest level in 40 years. The economy was overheating, and a correction was mandatory. The Federal Reserve responded with its fastest tightening cycle in 4 decades, executing 11 rate hikes in just 16 months. Mortgage rates soared from 3.2% to a peak of 7.79%. This created the fourth domino, the squeeze. A median household earns $83,700, but needs over $105,000 to qualify for the median home. The average family is $22,000 short. Every quarter-point rate increase pushed 1.4 million buyers out of the market. Buyer demand didn't just slow down, it collapsed. Under these conditions, with demand dead and millions priced out, home prices should have crashed. Instead, they stayed pinned at their record highs. Prices refused to fall because housing supply evaporated at the exact same moment demand died. The market is being held hostage by its own past success. Currently, 51% of all outstanding U.S. mortgages have a rate below 4%. 1 out of every 5 homeowners is locked in under 3%. This is the lock-in effect. If a homeowner who bought in 2020 sells today, they surrender a financial instrument the banking system cannot recreate. Moving today means trading the cheapest debt of a lifetime for debt that costs twice as much. On a $400,000 mortgage, that swap adds up to $87,600 in extra interest over a decade. That is a massive financial penalty just for moving. Research from the FHFA and the Federal Reserve puts the pure financial penalty of trading an old mortgage for a new one at roughly $65,000. On a macro level, homeowners are staying in houses they have long since outgrown. They aren't staying because they want to. They are staying because the math of a spreadsheet physically prevents them from leaving. This has mathematically suppressed 1.7 million transactions. The market isn't broken in the sense that it's collapsing. It's broken in the sense that it has completely stopped moving, like a door that won't open or close, just stuck. You do everything right, you follow the rules, and somehow your finances just feel stuck, grinding away, but going nowhere. To understand who is taking the hardest hit right now, let's look at Maya. She's 31, works in healthcare administration, and earns $74,000 a year. She has a 760 credit score and $31,000 saved after 3 years of skipped vacations and living with a roommate. Maya is the ideal homeownership candidate, but the median home is $385,000. With 10% down at a 6.5% rate, taxes and maintenance, her monthly cost hits $3,110. That consumes 65% of her $4,650 take-home pay, leaving just $1,600 for everything else. The $36,000 gap between what she earns and what she needs is a structural impossibility baked into the math. Maya could sacrifice for another decade and the numbers still wouldn't add up, because the entry requirements have moved beyond the reach of the median salary. This chart compares household income to housing costs. The median household income in the US is $83,700, but comfortably buying a median-priced home requires $110,000. The system has a $22,000 deficit built into the baseline. These numbers have forced a historic retreat. First-time buyers now make up just 21% of all purchases, the lowest in 44 years. In the early 1990s, the median age for a first-time buyer was 28. Today, it's 40. While a 32-year-old struggles to compete with a pre-approval letter and modest savings, they are often outbid by baby boomers, who now represent 42% of all buyers. Half of those older boomers are purchasing in cash, utilizing equity built over decades to bypass the mortgage market entirely. This imbalance forces a generation to abandon traditional milestones. Recent data shows that 84% of Gen Z aspiring homeowners are delaying major life events, including marriage and children, despite a culture that treats homeownership as the primary marker of stability. When housing prices detach from incomes this aggressively, there is a natural expectation that the bubble must eventually pop. Many people are waiting for a repeat of the 2008 financial crash. But that crisis was triggered by mass foreclosures. Banks lent money to people who could not repay it, creating a system with zero margin for error. When prices dipped, millions of properties went underwater, forcing a price spiral. Today's lending standards are far more stringent. Subprime loans represent a tiny fraction of the market, and median credit scores at origination are 50 points higher than they were in 2006. The people holding mortgages today are highly qualified. This visualization shows the depth of modern equity. In 2009, 26% of all mortgaged properties were underwater. Today, that number is just 2.2%. Homeowners are currently sitting on nearly $36 trillion in collective equity. Borrowers are qualified, equity is real, and the banking system is stable. Instead of a fragile bubble, we are looking at a market that is frozen, structurally constrained, and likely to grind sideways for years. This freeze is the result of a 15-year construction deficit. After 2008, builders pulled back significantly. For the entire 2010s, housing starts averaged well under 1 million units per year. The US is now short roughly 4 million homes. Builders also shifted their focus toward luxury markets, where margins are higher. The production of traditional starter homes under 1,400 square feet has dropped 80% since the 1970s, effectively removing the first rung of the wealth-building ladder. Recent supply chain issues and tariffs have added even more pressure. Spiking costs for lumber, steel, and aluminum add an estimated $10,000 to $17,000 to the base price of every new home built today. Even if interest rates drop, the supply deficit prevents a quick fix. Lower rates would likely trigger a wave of pent-up demand, causing prices to spike again because there aren't enough houses available to meet the surge. Because the supply shortage took a decade to create, no single policy or rate cut can solve it in a single year. We are dealing with a structural imbalance that requires a decade of sustained building to normalize. With 4 million units missing and millions of homeowners locked into low rates, we are facing a grinding, multi-year adjustment. Incomes will have to rise significantly before they can realistically meet these prices, suggesting a market that moves sideways for the foreseeable future. Navigating this environment requires ignoring the market narrative and focusing strictly on your personal numbers. Total housing costs should remain below 28 to 30% of your gross income. If the math doesn't work at that threshold, you shouldn't buy. For those who do meet the threshold, new construction offers a rare advantage. Builders are currently offering mortgage rate buydowns into the 4% range, and new home prices are currently at par with existing homes for the first time in decades. Be wary of professional advice that ignores these math-based limits. Every institution with a financial stake in your purchase has a structural incentive to tell you now is a great time to buy, regardless of the interest rates or your personal debt-to-income ratio. Renting while putting your savings into an index fund is a mathematically sound strategy that can often outperform homeownership in a high-price, high-rate environment. You gain liquidity and market exposure without the heavy interest burden of an overpriced mortgage. You aren't failing at adulthood if the listings don't make sense. The math of the current market is legitimately broken. The most responsible choice you can make is to rely on your own balance sheet rather than participating in a system that doesn't add up.